Good day, sir. Good day, everybody. My name is Jimwell A. Deramas from BIT 2K ATB. Ngayon naman po ay tatalakayin natin o pag-uusapan ang idle air control valve at ang kanyang operation, purpose at ang kanyang construction. At naglagay na rin po ako ng mga konting facts about sa idle air control valve. First of all, what is idle air control valve? The idle air control valve enables the engine to idle smoothly rather than stall out while the vehicle is stopped. It will continue doing so until you step on the accelerator and the vehicle starts to move. Again, in gasoline engines, engine speed depends on airflow, which is controlled by the throttle body. The gas pedals open the throttle plates, allowing air to pass on the intake manifold. More throttle means more air and more engine speed. Releasing the accelerator pedal closes the throttle body, reducing the airflow and the engine speed. So now, we will talk about its purpose. Purpose of idle air control valve. An idle air control valve regulates the amount of air flowing to the engine. When the engine is idling, having the right idling speed of an engine is vital to the economy and safety of the parts of the engine. While starting the car, a cold engine will require more air to idle smoothly. Also, when you step on the gas and then let off, the air supply to the engine ceases. But to ensure the engine doesn't jerk to a halt, a little air has to be supplied to the engine. From the above-mentioned instances, it is clear that the regulating air supply is vital for the smooth running of the engine. At the same time, the amount of air that enters your car's engine should be kept under check, else the engine will have more air than fuel. Hypothetical though. This is where the idle control valve enters the picture. Now let's take a closer look at the purpose of idle air control valve. The idle air control valve is an essential part of the vehicle engine management system, integrated into a bypass housing or located on or near the throttle body assembly. The idle air control valve allows a measured amount of air to bypass the throttle plate or butterfly when it's closed, enabling the ECU to accurately control the idle speed of the vehicle's engine. The IA the The IAC position is adjusted quickly to compensate for engine load is commonly required for or during engine startup. Cold start engine or warm-up, additional electrical loads, the acceleration, air conditioning, and automatic transmission use. The EAC valve is controlled by an input signal from the ECU as required by the engine management system. The duration and frequency of the ECU input signal determines how long and how far E- the EAC valve opens. Hence, the amount of air that is allowed is to bypass the throttle plate. The idle air control valve must be compatible with the vehicle engine management system. The Tridon idle air control valve range has been carefully researched and engineered to suit each specific application. As idle air control valve electrical circuits, technical specifications and appearance may vary. Always refer to the Tridon vehicle application list to ensure correct part of number selection. Let's get down to the operation of the idle air control valve. The idle air control valve is controlled by the Engine Control Module or ECM. The ECM is the monitoring module or the computer of the car that keeps on a check on the engine idle speed. The ECM uses the idle air control valve to control the amount of air that is allowed to bypass the throttle intake plate so as to keep the engine idle speeds constant. There are two idle things on a vehicle: The minimum idle setting is done at the time of manufacturing itself, which allows a certain amount of air to pass through the valve irrespective of the idle air control valve position. The running idle system is achieved by the combination of idle air controlled valve position and airflow. If the sensor in the idle air control valve detects a drop in the idling engine RPM, it it opens up and allows air to pass, thereby increasing the RPM, thus preventing the engine from stalling and keeping the engine warm and running. An idle air control valve contains a small stepping motor that advances and retracts the Fintel valve. This regulates the amount of air by passing the butterfly valve in the throttle body. The fuel injection computer ECU adjusts the valve to supply the proper amount of air to maintain an appropriate idle RPM. To control the idle speed of an engine, an idle air control valve mechanism can be used to control the amount of that air that bypasses the throttle valve. This mechanism is commonly used on vehicles with fuel injection which have no throttle valve controller motor, like etc. throttle valve control DC motor or throttle valve position stepper motor. Two different idle air control valves are found with a single solenoid or with double solenoids, respectively having a 2-pin connection or a 3-pin connection. Both air control valves are mechanically have similar in construction. The double solenoid valve uses uses one solenoid for opening and one solenoid for closing the valve. The single solenoid valve has a spring to pull back the valve in an initial position, usually closed, and the solenoid opens the valve against the spring pressure, both ideal air control. Side connected to the ECU. When the ECU needs to change the position of the valve, creating a magnetic field that pulls the valve to the new position. The duty cycle signal is creating a magnetic field that pulls the valve to the new position. The duty cycle value affects the position of the valve, therefore the amount of air bypassing the throttle valve. Engine runs by burning fuel air inside the cylinders. When you press on the gas pedal, the car's engine control unit ECU opens the throttle body to allow more air to enter the engine. Meanwhile, the fuel injector squirt more fuel into the engine. And there you go. More fuel and air means you get more power. When you lift up the gas pedal, the throttle body closes and cuts off the air supply. However, your engine still needs air to run at idle. And this is where the idle air control valve comes in. It opens automatically to allow air to enter the engine. It essentially bypassing the throttle body. The valve takes information from several sensors, and if the ECU detects that you're going to idle, it opens the valve to allow air to enter so that the engine won't stall. The fuel system doesn't need the bypass valve since modern cars use either direct or port injection, where fuel is injected into the engine and doesn't have to mix before reaching the engine like in the days of carburetors. So now, let's talk about the construction of idle air control valve. Idle air control valve is located on the throttle body and intake air bypassing the throttle valve passes through it. In this way, the intake air volume bypassing the throttle valve is regulated, controlling the engine speed. The ECM operates only in the idle air control valve. Idle air control valve speed receives its power from the EFR relay and ground through the ECM. There are two styles of rotary solenoids idle air control valves. The older style uses two driver circuits, one driver for each coil. The newer style uses a single driver circuit. One coil is controlled by the ECM while the other coil is always grounded. They are not interchangeable. An easy way to tell which type of rotary solenoid is to use the writing schematic. The older style has two wires connected to the ECM while the newer type has a one connected to the ECM and the other wire is connected to the ground. Ideal air Ideal air control valve fitted with throttle body with the help of rubber gasket and locking bolt. It have one water inlet and one water outlet. Inside this, warm water circulate continuously. It may keep warm incoming air. The, the ideal air control valve had one air inlet and one outlet. Both are connected with bypass air passes. The, the ideal air control valve have electrical solenoid which is connects with the EEM's engine management system with the help of electrical wire. Why are idle air control valves important? At idle, a fixed orifice or a throttle plate opening might cause a fuel-injected engines to stall if the power steering of air conditioning loaded the engine. So a variable idle control was needed. Computer controls and electronic fuel injection made efficient and responsive idle control easier to achieve. Motorized or electronic. The idle air control valves can open or close the bypass by varying degrees depending on engine load. For example, with no loads, the, the ideal air control valve might open only a little. During the parking maneuvers, power steering or electrical load slows the engine, but the ideal air control valve, using the feedback from the engine speed sensor, opens a bit more provide consistent engine speed and enough power to prevent stalling. Can you drive with a bad ideal air control valve? You probably can't. The car may be able to get going normally, but it will have a trouble idling and may even stall during driving. Stalling in traffic can be dangerous, so you don't want to keep driving with a bad ideal air control valve. Additionally, a bad a bad AACV may prevent your car from starting after your stall, leaving you stranded. Speaking from experience, I can confidently say that being stranded while in the middle of a commute isn't actually fun. How long does ideal air control valve last? The ideal air control valve doesn't have a service or replacement interval. It may last for up to 10 years, or it may also fail as early as 3 years. There's really no telling, so replace them when you need to. You can clean them as frequently as you like. In most cases, you can go for up for 3 or even 5 years without cleaning them. If you like, you can clean them once a year as a part of a major service. The general rule is to clean them if experiencing idling problems. That's all, sir, for the idle air control valves topic. I hope you learned something new, guys, and thank you, sir, for your time and for watching this video. I hope you guys safe and God bless all.